Mbable Jonathan. This is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. We begin with our top stories in this edition of the news. At least 3 persons or 20 persons rendered homeless and pupils of government primary school Moto stranded following 3 separate fire incidents recorded in the OPEC city of Limbe in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. In the northwest regional chief town, a fire incident brings down over 20 shops, reduced into ashes. In the meantime, 2 students who were among 4 hostages released over the weekend by elements of the security and defense forces of the Republic of Cameroon have been reunited with their families. We will also bring to you updates on the coronavirus pandemic across the African continent in this edition of the news. Stay with us. At least 20 persons are now homeless in the OPEC city of Limbe in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Their houses were reduced into ashes by wild flames, and in another fire incident, students or pupils of primary school, government primary school Moto, were stranded following another fire incident among the 3 fire incidents recorded in a single day in the town of Limbe. Our correspondent Davison Maimo has more.
4:30 p.m. Monday the 8th of February 2021, wild flames at a plank house, hilltop opposite the regional hospital in Limbe. Neighbors battle with the fire, preventing it from crossing to other buildings, but are faced with an obstacle: water to help put off the fire.
There is no water in Limbe for over a week now. We found it very difficult to really put off the fire.
People, they come up for 100 meters, they take one bucket water, they come for here, you know, to do anything.
Water no dey all this time, now 2 months this water no dey for my one. 2 months, water no dey, the suffer.
As water no dey, I may be question this in the classroom. I only fight. For some who broke some walls, they may not transfer to some other side. If not so, like the fire was terrible for more than 5 or 6 houses.
Despite succeeding to bring the fire under control, enormous damage recorded, with more than 80% of the occupant properties consumed to ashes.
Now receiving the patient, I dropped everything. She can even take her drugs. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go. I don't even know where to go. They said where to Equinoxe. But I never see them myself. I now recover from the shock.
The few items successfully removed are in bad shape, with some broken, since it was all about removing and throwing far from the fire. Eyewitness suspect a lady to have left cooking oil on the gas to take her bath, since the fire started in her room.
People say a lady left pot in the fire, others say maybe it's due to poor connection of the cables.
The fire started in a 4-room plank house and crossed to another, a 6-room house, due to wild wind. Both houses are separately owned, and more than 20 persons are homeless. Meanwhile, another fire incident recorded at Bonadikomomai 4 behind the motor park, consuming to ashes everything in an apartment room. Sources say a bulb exploded about 2 a.m., dropping on a mattress after electricity power returned with high voltage. The fire was put out, preventing it from consuming the entire building. Another fire incident occurred at Government Primary School Motowo. The Class 6 block of that institution was consumed by fire. The school, with no electricity supply and a message on the board. Speculations are high. It is a handwork of separatists. The mayor of Limbe 1 Council, the administration, forces of law and order descended to the scene to have first-hand information. Security officials are yet to make public the cause of all 3 fire incidents, as investigations are still ongoing.
And in another fire incident, this time in the northwest regional chief town, Bamenda, over 20 shops were reduced into ashes. The fire incident broke out last night. Stella fires in details from Bamenda.
Another sad incident at the My 4 Motor Park in Queen, Bamenda 3 subdivision. The majority of people here own shops around. They are watching their sources of livelihoods go down in flames. The incident, some witnesses say, erupted last night. All their efforts at putting out the flames had no impact on the fire, which had gone wild. This Tuesday morning reveals the death of damages resulting from the fire incident. One of the affected traders in tears, obviously disturbed by the disaster that wreaked havoc on their shops. Goods and money worth millions of francs CFA have been burned to ashes.
My shirt now said 62 on my sofa. They say now red oil, say yam, say cola inside the store. Then everything inside that store will be damaged. Well, I don't got that red oil in drum them. I saw say the money that in the way inside should be around 3 million francs. The store will run down and everything.
At the scene to console the victims were the mayor of Bamenda 3, Cletus Fongu, and the founder of Nkwen, His Royal Majesty Azefo III.
All we enter the market every day for chop, for gather small money, for buy something if you help one person. So that the whole village, the whole municipality for Bamenda 3 don't be affected.
At least 20 families have been directly affected by the fire, whose source is still to be established.
2 students who spent 24 hours in captivity in the northwest region of the country have been reunited with their families. They were among 4 former hostages released by elements of the National Defense and Security Forces in the crisis-hit northwest region of the country. And our correspondent in the northwest region, Stella, reports that since the beginning of the academic year, or better still, the year 2021, attacks on schools, pupils, students, and school officials have been rampant. Her report.
The 4 hostages released were picked up Friday from different points in the city of Bamenda and taken to this house at Tanka, a neighborhood in Bamenda 2 subdivision.
We left school. I was with my brothers. We were coming. Now we reached Mola. We saw those boys there. They were trying to stop our bike. While bringing us here, they covered our faces, and we could not see anything. They just came and put us in the cell.
So when he sent that document from home, it was a bike rider that took the document from home to Bamenda. I took the envelope. On my way back home, I discovered that there were some bike men behind me. They followed me and they caught me at the junction, Cowboy Junction, Gomgam. They told me that I should bring my bag. They want to see what is inside. They opened the bag, then removed the envelope and told me that this is an envelope for grade 1 recruitment. And they told me that it is dangerous. It is very dangerous. They can't let me go.
The 4 were detained in this room. The dust here served as their mattresses. It was going to be a long night for the detained, but their stay in captivity was interrupted when a contingent of defense and security forces stormed the area at night.
When we entered into the cell, and then they started beating us with machetes under our feet.
The men, led by Major Conrad Onana, say they also captured 4 newly recruited separatist fighters, killed 4 others, recovering a stock of arms and munitions.
Nous avons un PA Browning, et là sont les PA artisanaux. Là nous avons 2 Kalash avec 3 boîtes chargeurs. Ce qui est impressionnant, c'est le col américain. Il y a un chargeur de 30 munitions et un chargeur de 20 munitions. 2 chargeurs de 20 munitions. Et là, c'est les armes qu'ils appellent communément les G3, ce qui ressemble à nos FAL, avec 2 boîtes chargeurs. Là où il y a les grosses munitions, là, ils appellent ça le armor car. capables de perforer même nos blindés. Nous avons le dispositif de mise à feu des œillets qui a été trouvé enfoui dans une maison quelque part là derrière.
Brigadier General Scar Valet and Équinoxe Divine of the 5th Joint Military and 5th Gendarmerie Regions respectively visited the troops on the field, saluting the professionalism with which they carried out the operation, minimizing civilian casualties and property loss.
For about 2 months now, transporters have been unable to enter the Central African Republic as a result of insecurity persisting in that neighboring country, and the drivers and the assistants have now transformed parking lots into their living rooms and kitchens. The situation is quite deplorable, as Equinoxe reports.
These loaded trucks are unable to move in and out of Central African Republic due to the prevailing war between rebels and the government. Stranded transporters have decided to transform these parking lots into their bedrooms and kitchen. We are tired of eating beans daily. Ceasefire is what we want. War is not good. Condition in which the daily meal is prepared by the Central Africans occupying this base is very deplorable and unhealthy. But they have no choice. We have been here for 2 months. Not far from them are Cameroonian truck drivers also stranded. Here, rice tops the menu. I am just from talking with my family on phone. They know all is not well on my side because a driver, in this case, is indifferent from soldiers at the war front. Since 2 months ago, following closure of the borders, the truck drivers sleep in open air under the station trucks where the precious sleep is not enjoyed. It is by God's grace we sleep and get up safe in such a condition. We are fortunate this place is not infested with mosquitoes. La voiture, tu te couches dans la chaleur, ne te laisse pas. Donc on est obligé de jongler comme vous voyez, nous sommes là. We lay a mat and sleep under the trucks because there is nowhere to sleep and we have no money to rent a room. We can't abandon people's properties here. If they get missing, we will be held accountable. C'est qui est responsable? This bus, for instance, has been transformed into a living room. A boxer who was returning to Central Africa from a competition in Cameroon is also trapped in the web, and no possibility for him to celebrate his medal with his loved ones and colleagues. I am stranded here with my gold medal in a terrible condition. Bringing home a gold medal and ending up sleeping in mess like this is not a good image for our country, Central African Republic. There are about 800 loaded trucks stationed at different parking areas, with at least 500 at the Garouaboulaye ceremonial ground.
Vous-même, vous avez vu le quotidien de nos camarades ici. Leur quotidien n'est pas du tout facile. Cette assistance consiste à aider les chauffeurs.
Basic needs of the stranded drivers are provided by the BGFT group.
En charge.
Some of these trucks transport perishables like fish, and to ensure they arrive their destination, Central African Republic, in good condition, a special mechanism has been adopted. We use a generator, and each week it consumes 2,000 liters of fuel. It steams from 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. An uncertain future for these groups of transporters, as even the UN is unable to deliver its humanitarian aid. Some Cameroonian truck drivers were shot by rebels who stopped them while they were entering Central African Republic. It is due to this indelible incident evident that these truck drivers prefer to embrace this horrible living condition while waiting patiently till the borders are opened than daring to cross that will see them absorb bullets like their Cameroonian brothers.
Coming up within the framework of the National Youth Day, coming up 11 February 2021, Immaculate Fogwe takes a look at the growing crime wave in schools across the Republic of Cameroon and how government authorities in charge of the educational sector are stepping up efforts to break the neck of crime in schools, so to speak. And she reports that drug consumption, violence, and sexual abuse are among the crime waves rising in intensity in schools in Cameroon. Her report.
Drug abuse, teenage pregnancies, and violence are now very rampant in school milieus. Pupils, students, and teachers have been affected by these rising phenomena, which have adversely impacted the academic performance of some students. With these worrying situations, Regional Delegate of Secondary Education in the Littoral region, accompanied by doctors, inspectors, and discipline masters, are brainstorming on how they could come up with strategies that can curb these rising phenomena in schools.
That we give all our all to ensure that the health of students as far as drug abuse, school violence, and teenage pregnancies are concerned, because these factors play a very huge role in the psychology of children, and hence there will be a delay in their catch-up with schooling, thereby making them very much becoming societal misfits.
Violent, deviant behavior or pregnancies in the school for young girls have not stopped. So we have to continue doing this so as to enable our schools to be clean, as our Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lyonga, wants these schools to be clean. That's why this workshop will enhance the capacities of our personnel, and then we are sure that when we monitor the activities, maybe after a year, we will realize that surely what we have been done have reduced deviant behavior, have reduced violence, and have reduced pregnancies in the schools.
The seminar, held in prelude of the 55th edition of the International Youth Day, was able to drill these education stakeholders on strategies they can apply while in their different school establishments. Teachers have been advised to create clubs that can promote peace, tolerance, dialogue, and harmonious living together. Parents have equally been encouraged to follow up their children, thereby guaranteeing a better future for them.
Educational officials in the southwest region of Cameroon say that there is need for a deep reflection on the faith of young people, in the Republic of Cameroon. And he was speaking at a time when unemployment, underemployment, and ills are growing in the youth milieu in the Republic of Cameroon. Young people are affected by several challenges, many of them who have graduated from higher institutions of learning, roaming around without jobs, many of them willing but unable to create jobs. Many of them have gone into menial jobs, including commercial motorbike riding and other menial jobs around that they're doing to survive. And he says that, or the officials say that there is need for deep reflection to provide solutions to these problems. He was speaking during the celebration of Bilingualism Day. David Simamo reports from Limbe.
Dear students, the world of today, more than ever before, requires those who can use English and French. As such, a mastery of our official languages is a valuable asset.
Vefongen Dumbe James, Sub-Director, General Affairs, Regional Delegation of Secondary Education, speaking during the 19th edition of the National Bilingualism Day that took place at Government Bilingual Technical High School in Sokolo. He continued, bilingualism, if fully implemented, shall bring lasting peace in Cameroon.
We shall be taken to task by posterity if we fail in our bid to produce globally competent citizens worth the name.
Southwest Regional Inspector for the Promotion of Bilingualism, Esemu Fonka Benedict, says the phobia Anglophone students had in the past in studying the French language has drastically reduced, but regretted the ongoing social unrest in the Northwest and Southwest region is not helping the students.
Bilingualism in the Southwest is progressing. I can rate it at even 70%. The obstacle is this socio-cultural political squabble we're having today.
The delegate representative used the occasion to call on teachers and parents to encourage the students to become bilingual citizens.
It is incumbent on us to build capacities and competencies in them which will enable them face challenges such as climate change, human conflicts, unemployment, terrorism, the scourge of diseases such as COVID-19.
The students, through songs, poems, artworks, among others, indicated their readiness to become bilingual. The day was characterized with activities ranging from debate, singing, traditional dancing, playbacks, and most importantly, fashion parade depicting the image of Cameroon culture.
In the report coming up next, Charles Sekome brings to us updates on the coronavirus pandemic across the continent. He reports that the delay in the delivery of COVID-19 vaccines from Western nations has put to question the competence and capacity of African virologists who have been unable till now to produce a COVID-19 vaccine. Details in this report.
The focus on challenges and opportunities for the development and use of vaccines in Africa is particularly timeous, which poses a problem in the African society because a key pillar of universal health coverage is vaccination, which is undoubtedly one of the most cost-effective and equitable public health inventions in the public health sector. As part of a collective effort to ensure that the African continent has access to the doses it requires in the fight against the plaguing coronavirus, African Union chairperson says about 270 million COVID-19 vaccines had been provisionally secured for African countries through the COVID-19 African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team. These 270 million doses add to the approximately 600 million doses already provided by the COVAX initiative, a global facility working for fair and equitable access of COVID-19 vaccines for every country in the world. Still, the number of vaccines from both initiatives are not enough to cover the continent, and the first batch of about 30 million vaccine doses of the COVAX 600 million will not start arriving in African countries until March this year. Securing the vaccines and getting them into the arms of most people who need it in Africa may take even longer, not just because of international vaccine hoarding, but also due to logistical constraints, including the need for deep refrigerating of some of these vaccines. Among the lot of major manufacturers in the production of COVID-19 vaccines, which include pharmaceutical giants like the Pfizer-BioNTech, Novavax, COVAX, AstraZeneca, just to name a few, none of these manufacturers are from Africa, which has put Africa in a handicapped position due to the fact that all vaccines in the fight against COVID-19 are imported to the African continent. The question still left unanswered is when will African scientists embark on a journey in joining the race of manufacturers across the world in the fight against this coronavirus pandemic.
And we wrap up this segment of the news with this advertorial from the Ntarikon Cooperative Credit Union Limited, one of the microfinance institutions in the Republic of Cameroon, breaking new grounds to satisfy its customers and also to contribute to nation building. Stella reports.
During their 34th annual general meeting in Bamenda, It was revealed that the Tarikon Cooperative Credit Union is making great strides in the microfinance industry in Cameroon. Despite the deplorable security climate affecting the Northwest and Southwest regions, the credit union had a 13% growth rate.
Our secret in Tarikon Cooperative Credit Union is strategy. We do not navigate in the air. We have a laid out plan that we follow strictly. We work on it. We do a lot of marketing. And we follow the plan strictly, and at the end of the day, here are the results. We succeed in all domains.
In 2020, the Tarikon Cooperative Credit Union registered 7,000 new members, an increase in shares from 1 billion in 2019 to 2 billion in 2020, and an increase in savings, that is, from 16 billion to 21 billion francs CFA. At Ntakul, words have been matched with action. Members' saving account will be credited with 5% interest for savings for the year 2020, while a 6% interest for savings is targeted for 2021.
The issue of the 5% interest that we pay on savings is real, and that is poverty alleviation. When somebody comes and keeps his money at the end of the day, you come and add it. It makes the man feel good. It makes the man feel happy. So we think that those who are not yet members, they should come. Those who are members, they should put more money in their savings, because at the end, they're going to receive more interest on it. You know, for the past 5 years, we have been selected the best microfinance institution in Cameroon because we are paying interest of 5% to members. We listen to members' problems. We give a good solution to their problems. You see, these are words that we have been receiving. They are motivating.
Ranked the best microfinance institution in Cameroon for the last 5 years, the Tarikon Cooperative Credit Union is not relenting yet.
Well, 2021, we have a program to digitalize and do electronic banking, extend our banking, connect our banking to the GMAC network, and so that we can be able to have cards, ATM cards that connect directly with the accounts, and you can be able to use those cards in other banks, all through the Equinoxe region.
Because health is wealth, members of Tarikon Cooperative Credit Union benefited free screening during their annual general meeting at the Bamenda Congress Hall.
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Thank you for joining us in Talking Points. We are receiving a young agripreneur, Gwangwa Priestley Pride Tabi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
Right, you are the CEO of Agribees Home, a young food and drinks processing company, right?
Yes, you're right, sir.
All right, we are in the Youth Week in the Cameroon, and you are a young person who is into entrepreneurship, and you are now a CEO right up there at the top of a young food and drinks processing company. What got you into food processing?
Okay, actually, I like agriculture a lot, and after my secondary school, I wanted to bring with a vision to solve some very pending agricultural issues in Cameroon, and of course that were similar in sub-Saharan Africa. And I realized that food dumping is one of them. Food wastage, in simple terms, that means to say a lot of food available, but not many techniques available.
Most of the food
wasted.
Tomatoes that get rotten.
Yes.
Either on the road or in the farm, on the road between the farm and the market.
Exactly.
And some get rotten on the market.
Yes.
And many other food stuffs like that, potatoes, cocoyams, and all the rest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of that got me thinking, and I realized that we talk about food security, which is the availability and accessibility of food to the population in sufficient quantity. We want to increase more farmers. But what of the food that is already available, which is wasted? What if we increase its availability on the market?
Food dumping got you thinking.
Yes.
So while you were thinking and observing what was happening, did you try to find out why the food dumping?
Yes, I realized that 3 factors caused food dumping. The number 1 factor is poor transport facilities, because there are not enough good roads and not enough good effective transportation means affordable to the local farmer. So there is a dumping. Number 2, there are poor storage facilities. The farmer is not able to afford the storage facilities to store large quantities of what he or she produces. And thirdly, there are no adequate processing techniques. You could process cassava, yes, into gari, that's all. But what of the other derivatives of cassava which are required on the market? The farmer is not able to get that to the market.
No, we're talking about preservation. I guess that's what pushed the absence of adequate preservation facilities. I guess this is what must have pushed many farmers to start using chemicals to either inject into bananas, plantains, or spill some of the liquid chemicals on pawpaw in order to preserve them and so on, which seems to be dangerous for human health according to medics.
Yes, you have the Food Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in partnership with the Ministry of Health tell you that these additives, as it is called, into this food, be it through the seeds or through the fertilizers or through the pesticides, is very dangerous. They are very dangerous to human health. And yes, like you rightly say, it is some methods, on-farm methods to preserve the food a little bit longer that push these farmers to get into those methods, and also because it is cheaper compared maybe to biofertilizer, and that's talking about places where the soil is no more virgin enough to grow on its own. It needs additional methods.
All right, so now you are into processing. While you are thinking about the processing part of the production chain, of the agricultural production chain, what did you identify as problem at the level of processing?
I realized that, number 1, there are not enough initiatives for processing. When I mean initiatives, I mean that we've not understood fully how we can utilize our products. Let me talk about cassava, which is a staple. Cassava has about 100 ways in which you could process it. We are not versed with all of them. Bananas, which is what I love much and what we are using actually, has almost 80 products in which you could process it. 20 ready products in which you process it and you have market, be it here or in sub-Saharan Africa or even out, which we are not versed with. So the knowledge, number 1. Number 2, the facilities. Facilities to get those food stuff processed is another big issue that is still not fully understood by the local community in Cameroon.
The transformation facilities are not available?
Yes, most of them, we have them available, but through other means. How do I mean? You either have an equipment that is available used to do some other stuff, whereas that same equipment can be useful in the food processing industry if you've not studied it. Like I, for example, had the privilege to be in East Africa, Uganda, where I saw some equipment which we use around being used in fruit and juice processing, which I didn't know of. And those are the knowledge and techniques that are still not really understood in Cameroon, which we are bringing in agribusiness.
What are some of the things that are done in Uganda as far as food processing is concerned, which could be profitable for Cameroon?
Okay, in Uganda, for example, Uganda, just like Cameroon, is one of the largest banana producing countries in the whole of Africa, Caribbean and Pacific. And in Uganda, about 40% of their brewery industries comes from their local production. You get, for example, chilled drinks out of bananas. You get breweries out of bananas. You're going to get soft drinks out of bananas. You're going to have pastries out of bananas. That's just to name a few. I was privileged also to be at a ceremony at Lagos when they were opening the German consulate, and I tasted banana ice cream. I've never eaten it in Cameroon, and it was the best ice cream for me. And when I realized it's from banana, I said I must get that secret, how to do it, because that is what I want to bring in Cameroon, something new.
Now we have a lot of bananas in Cameroon, just everywhere. Bananas from Jombe, from the southwest region, in the northwest region, bananas, even here in the littoral, bananas, in the central region, bananas everywhere. But much of the bananas are exported.
Yes, we have that great issue. That's been an issue that is way, it's aged more than some of us for a very long time. That has been the pattern. I was, because we're privileged to have an audience with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. They wrote us a recommendation to PHP. The Director General tagged the commercial the head of the commercial department for bananas, and we're discussing, and that is their pattern. They export bananas to Europe, to France, because they know that that is where the value for what they are offering can be paid for. That's what they will say. But okay, they have bananas that still remain here, which is huge, very huge, which cannot be utilized at all. Even if we have to build an industry of 100 million franc CFAs, that is still huge. Not to talk about the much bananas that are still wasted. Even in the streets, you go to Yaoundé, you're going to see bananas that are transported to maybe a local seller who has to retail and gets back on the street and is thrown in the gutters. That is still huge potential that we can utilize and do enormous things in Cameroon.
Right, you're transforming bananas. Tell us exactly what you're doing. So in Agribees Home. At
Agribees Home, we process bananas into fruit juice, banana juice actually. And very recently, after some research and development, we came up with banana cakes. So we do banana juice and banana cakes. That is fruit juice and fruit cakes.
How do you do that?
So, like I said,
you just get the bananas and the processing. Can you tell us a little more about the processing? Do you add some other things, some chemicals into it or stuff like that?
Okay, so for the fruit juice, it's fully out of bananas. But of course, there's a technique, because when it gets to the market, you need to preserve it for long. So we have the smoothies that we're going to do, which is we do on the spot, you take and drink. So nothing added there. But of course, you have the ones that have to be on shelves in supermarkets that needs to last longer. And of course, we use some techniques to get it to last longer. But that is within the food safety rules and regulations of food processing.
What quantity do you produce in the space of 1 month, for example? What quantity of banana juice, banana cakes do you produce?
Okay, so recently we increased our capacity because we're moving. We're located in Penja. When we mastered the way to get bananas at the new location in Dogbon, opposite Kamler, we decided to increase our capacity. So currently we are at 150 liters per day. You will calculate for 25 working days, that's 4,500 liters of banana juice. And for the cakes, we are at 100 packets. You know, we do the ones for 500 francs. That is one very consistent one, what you get elsewhere at 1,000 francs, and we have the packet which is 4 for 1,000 francs. So we have that capacity of 1,000 per month.
That's enormous. What are the challenges that you're facing in developing this processing activity?
Okay, of course, the very first one is the equipment, which is not always readily available. So you need to make much research to know exactly where you can get the equipment. That is the number one challenge, because we are still learning on how to get our engineers build for us very resistant equipment and machinery. So sometimes they can build, other ones the frank people will tell you you need to get something more sophisticated out. That's the first challenge. The second one, I would say, it's the finance, of course, because to get the equipment, it needs money, and money is one very important and cardinal point in business. The third one, I would say, it's a solid and understanding team workforce. So important, because you can have all the money and all the resources in the world, if you don't have dedicated people to work with, then it's going to be an issue. That's why currently, with the increased capacity plan, we are recruiting some profiles in order to strengthen our workforce to hit our target, which is to hit certain sales points in Douala from now to the first quarter of the year 2021. The fourth one is going to be of course, a very solid transportation system, which is so important to get the material in time, because it's all about timing in food processing and drink processing and getting it to the market also on time.
All right, we are rounding up now. In a few seconds, this could encourage some young Cameroonians who are listening to you now. How did you manage to put all of these things together, getting the money to start, putting all the ideas together to get this company working, to put it on the ground?
Okay, so, well, I believe if I'm speaking to the young people like myself, it would be to get a vision and not be scared to go to any level to fulfill your vision. I got this vision a long time before I really started. So when I wrote a project, I went to business seminars, went to learn, attended some pitching competitions. I failed a number of times, but I still believed in the vision because it was way beyond me. I had a divine vision to fulfill this, and I went to it, and I wrote a program. The very first one was the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, which I had, and by that time we had the privilege that we got support to travel for the forum in Abuja. That was the first one. Then I went again. The second one was the UNDP, United Nations Development Program in Cameroon, pitching competition. They launched a one-time national competition. I went for it. I was, I believe, one of the less qualified, but I had my vision, I had my product, that's all I believed in, and I got it. I believe that having a vision and going to any level to showcase the vision is one of the secrets that has helped.
Determination.
Yes.
Gwangwa Presley Pride Tabi, agripreneur, CEO of Agribees Home, a young food and drinks processing company. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Coming up next, Equinoxe.